buildings. Next. And this is a shop move. This is the shortest intercity train you'll ever see. Shortest ice train you'll ever see. It just has 2 coaches and 2 locomotives. This is probably going up towards Koblenz. Next. Okay, this is Worms, W-O-R-M-S. This is at the Hauptbahnhof there. One of the nicest cathedrals you'll ever see anywhere in Europe there. It's up there with the one in Cologne. But anyway, this is another Crossrail locomotive. It's not painted in the Crossrail colors, but if you look on the side, it says X-Rail, and that's the markings for Crossrail. Next. The Worms Hauptbahnhof, the 425 class of electric commuter MUs. These were built by Bombardier and Siemens, a consortium from 1999 to 2008. The 425 classes are 4 units, or 4 sections, and the 426s are shorter, they're only 2 units. They were built specifically for DB Regio. Next. Another freight company called Locomotion. This particular locomotive was built in 2009. Now, the full name of the company is Locomotion Gesellschaft for Traction MBH. It started operation in 2001. Basically for Transalpine services, runs from Salzburg to Spital, from Brenner to Tauern in Austria, and from Innsbruck to Verona. It was basically created to connect Germany and Italy, and these are dual voltage locomotives, 15 and 25 kV. Next. If you come to my shows, you're going to see more freight in Europe than you'll ever see anywhere else. But anyway, this is at Ludwigshafen. Ludwigshafen, it's west of Mannheim. This is an S-Bahn train. That's the S1. Another 425 class. Next. And Ludwigshafen has an interesting station. It has a lower level and an upper level. This is an intercity local train heading up to the upper level with a 101 class locomotive. Next. And a closer look at the same train. Next. And there's the better half, and Speyer. Speyer is one of the most hidden places in Germany, touristy-wise, that nobody ever goes to. Nobody has even heard of it, but it's a place. If you're in Germany, the southwest part of Germany, you got to go there. Next. That's the main cathedral in town, and there's a whole section in the central area that has all these quaint buildings. It's really nice. You just have to see it to believe it. This is just a small section, and they have the bus system here. It's the Rhine-Pfalz bus. It runs in the Rhineland-Palatinate area. Next. Another shot in Speyer. There's just all sorts of angles. And next, we're going to come back here on a sunny day just to photograph everything in the sun. We had a cloudy day, so get what you can. Next. Okay, this is Würzburg. This is about 2 hours to the east of Frankfurt. Now, Würzburg is one of the choke points for the freight running in Germany, the north-south lines in the western part of Germany. So, needless to say, I waited for a few freight trains on this bridge, and about in the 20 minutes that I was here, about 5 came by just going southbound. Well, anyway, that's one of the original ice trains, a 401 class. Next. And just freight train after freight train came by. Würzburg is on the Main River. The Main River flows basically east-west, from west to east, and it joins up with the Rhine River in Mainz, if I'm not mistaken. This is in the Rail Lion paint scheme, or Rail Leon paint scheme. It's now DB Schenker, but the engine still... I haven't seen any locomotives with the DB Schenker name, but that's the official name of the freight operations for DB, Deutsche Bahn. That's a 185 class locomotive. Next. This is the Railfan Delight engine in Western Germany. These are called the Stasi containers, one of the nicknames, or electric containers, but the favorite name is the Stasi containers, because they look like basically boxes, and they were built in East Germany. These are the most powerful locomotives ever built in East Germany, 7,200 horsepower. They were originally in the Deutsche Reichsbahn, class 250. They were changed over after the unification to the 155 class. There were 273 of these built, and built by LEW Hennigsdorf, named AEG, now Bombardier. Their plant was just outside Berlin. These are only 15K locomotives, and they were built from 1974 on. They're 6 axles. Next. Another empty auto rack train coming through, and the freights just come through here, train after train after train. And on the hills in the background, those are vineyards. This was in March and April, so it wasn't very green yet. And that's the Hauptbahnhof in Würzburg there, in the background. Next. And they just keep coming. There's 152 class. There was 173 of the 152 class built. These are the ES64Fs. We'll get more into that later, what the significance of that. Because this is the engine that the ACS 64 locomotives for Amtrak were based on. These engines right here. These are 8,600 horsepower. These are equipped for passenger operation, but rarely used as such. Next. All right, let's take a look at the tram system in Würzburg. They basically have 2 types of cars. They have 14 of these. They were built by Linkhoff and Busch, taken over by Alstom in 2009. These are the GTE cars built in 1988 and 1989. The system there is 750 volt DC. Started in 1900. They have 41 cars, 13 miles of routes, 46 stops, and 5 lines. And this is the bridge where I was taking all those freight pictures from. Next. This is downtown. Würzburg was pretty much wiped out in World War II, so everything here is rebuilt. Next.
Smells good too.
It's one of the 1988-89 cars, the LHB cars. Next. As you can see, there's still some interesting architecture that either survived or was rebuilt. Next. And they have a lot of wrap cars. Next. This is the Alte Mainbrücke, the Saints Bridge. It was constructed from 1473 to 1543, and in 1730 they decided to put these statues on there, and of famous local people, famous politicians, and also saints. This is the touristy area of Würzburg, where it crosses over the Main River. Next. And down by the Hauptbahnhof, all the cars are in different colors, different advertising things. Next. And these are the other cars. They have 30 of these, the number 250 to 279, delivered in 1996 through 98. And these are the GTN cars. Next. Same car in the central area. Next. More residential here. Next, on the other side of the river, this is on the eastern side of the river. This is mostly all residential here. Next. Same area. Next. All right, welcome to Darmstadt. The train we rode down on, the 101 class engine. This is March 27, 2014. Now, Darmstadt has its claims to fame. It's where the mission control is located here for the European Space Operations Center. So when the ESA launches something, that's controlled out of Darmstadt. And also, a new element was created here in 1994, Darmstadtium. It's one of the most radioactive elements on Earth. It's a transition metal. It's atomic number 110. Yeah, half-life of like 8 seconds, depending on the isotope. Yeah, the different isotopes have different half-lives, but they're all very short. Well, anyway, next. Another 155 class, another Stasi container train. Darmstadt is another choke point for the freight system in Western Germany. So if you want to get a lot of freight pictures, go to Darmstadt, south of the Hauptbahnhof, or go to Würzburg, south of the Hauptbahnhof, and you'll be in freight heaven. Next. Some Swiss trains come through here. That's SBB Cargo. They're an active member of the Crossrail Alliance. They have 495 locomotives, 7,360 freight cars, and they have 50 of these 482 class locomotives, dual voltage. Next. Close look at a different locomotive. Next. And the Darmstadt system is unique. The cars are different looking from most other systems around the world. These are their oldest cars that are still running. Those are 91. They have 10 of these, 9115 to 9124, built by the Wagen Union, 1991. Wagen Union is affiliated with the same company that created the Luger piston. Wagen Union was taken over by ABB Henschel in 1990, by Air Trans in 1996, and finally by Bombardier. Next. So these are the newest cars. These numbered 775 to 792, delivered in 2007. These are Alstom LHB cars. It's like a consortium type car. Next. And then you have these 1998 cars. They have 20 of these, numbered 9855 to 9874. This is the main square in all of Darmstadt. One second. This is at Luisenplatz. Luisenplatz. Yeah, forgive the pronunciation of stuff, but I was born in Brooklyn. We have some we have some linguistic issues.
People from Brooklyn speak Brooklyn.
In any case, there's 9 lines in Darmstadt. It's meter gauge, 48 cars, 162 stops, 26 miles a route. Next. And September 11th, 1944 wasn't a good day in Darmstadt. This was the aftermath of British and American bombing, as was the case for most major German cities.
Darmstadt was the practice run for Dresden. What?
Yeah.
Next. See a few more shots in Darmstadt. Next. Give you an idea of what's going on there. They have some heavily rebuilt areas. They actually, all over Germany, they rebuilt buildings basically to identically what they were before they were destroyed, with the original architectural drawings in most cases. Next. Or pictures. This is on one of the main drags. Next. And the front and the back of one of the 9800s, they're single-ended cars. Next. All right, now for something completely different. Let's come back home for a little bit. Okay. This is Lansdale, PA, on the left. we have a Silverliner built by GE in 1975. On the right, we have a Jeep 38 built for Penn Central in January of 1971. Was taken over by Conrail, the same number, became Norfolk Southern 2923, rebuilt the Jeep 38-2, number 5642, still in service today. Next. This is north of Radnor on the Norristown line. We have one of the 10 bullet cars from 1931, built by Brill. They were number 200 to 209. There were actually 11 built because 203 burned to a crisp on March 14, 1933, and replaced with another car of the same number in 1934. The Chicago cars came over to replace these cars and the Stratford cars. 486 is ex-CTA number 6152, built in 1951 by St. Louis. Next. And there's one of the CTA cars before repainting. That will eventually become 481. And plus another bullet call. This is at West Overbrook. Next. And one of the blue liners. That's not blue anymore. This is at Pioli. That's ex-Blue Liner 838, built by Bethlehem Steel in 1931. And of course we have the GE Silverliner built in 75 and 76. Next. And a blue liner with a Silverliner. That 9027 has since been renumbered into the 400 series. This is at Glenside. While still on the subject of Philadelphia, next. This is in Wallingford, Connecticut. That's Broad Street car number 31. At the time when this was taken, about 20 years ago, that was Nick's Pizza. Now it's the Trackside Brick Oven Pizza. If you want to go there, it's at 118 Dudley Avenue in Wallingford, Connecticut, and it's now air conditioned. So it's the only air conditioned Broad Street car in existence. And that car was built in 1927. That's car 31 of 150. Next. All right. That's a fan trip. Pioneer, 3 cars up above. Originally built by Bud for the Pennsylvania Railroad in 1958. They were number 246 to 250, but originally they were Pennsylvania Railroad 150 to 54. And then after that, they were Penn Central 294 to 298. Anyway, this is on the Sharon Hill line. Next. And there we have an all-electric PCC, plus one of your 10240T AM General Trackless Trolleys. They ran from 1980 to 2002. This is at Germantown Avenue and Windrum. Next. Here you have, this is another fan trip. I don't know the history of the bus on the right, but there you have it. Next. All right. Now we're going to continue on with there'll be more German stuff and more U.S. stuff, but we're going to continue on with the best of show. We're still in the B's. This is the alphabetical part. So we're up to Beijing. All right. Now, the flexible, that's a flexible bus body on the left. It was not built in the United States. It was not shipped over there. This was a joint venture in 1994 with Changzhou Changjing Bus Company. So these were built in China. The chassis was built in China, but the body was based on the flexible design. There were actually trolley bus versions of these built. There were 77 of them, and they ran in Hangzhou. Now, if anybody can produce a picture of one of these trolley buses in Hangzhou, I'd like to see it. And they were last built in 2001. Next. Tiananmen Square. This is March of 2002. This was our vacation of choice that year. when we got the visas, I told the guy at the consulate exactly what I wanted to do. I want to take pictures of trains, buses. I want to take pictures in your main railway stations. I want to take pictures of all transit stuff. And I said, no problem. So when I got there, I found out it was no problem. I was worried at the airport that they were going to confiscate my 50 rolls of film or whatever it was. But they said, no problem. And here it is. Anyway. Next. Now, the Beijing bus system is insane. They have 1,000, this is currently now. Hold on a second. They have 1,020 routes, operated by over 22,000 buses.
Wow. What's the headway?
The headway is every couple of seconds. It's like the half-life of the Darmstadtian. But anyway, this is north of the Beijing station. This is March 29th, 2002. As you can see, it's your typical Beijing, that's not fog, that's pollution. Thankfully, we got a good rainstorm and it cleared out the sky for a couple of days. Next. Another one of, this is after a good rainstorm. Another one of those flexible buses. This is, for all that are really curious, this is east of Dangxi, Chitao. Next.
Have you been there?
And all those red cars are taxis. Next.
Taxi?
And they have an interesting trolley bus system. Now these are the 40-foot trolley buses. These are the VJD-WG-120As. They're 12-meter buses. They're high floors, non-air conditioned, built by the Beijing Hawaii trolley bus system. These are off-wire capable. They were specific. It was all political that they were off-wire capable because, you know, they like to have their communist parades with all the things, but the trolley wires messed that up. So on the parade routes, they have no trolley wire, so the trolley wires automatically come down, and then they have these basically catcher things on the other side where the poles just bounce up into them and they magically get rewired. Next. Now these are all gone. That's trolley bus 2. These are the Hawaii BD 562s. The last of these were retired in 2006. So all these shots were in 2002. Next. I don't know if these are still in service. I believe they are. They all have digital. They all got digital signs after we left. I forget what year that was. But anyway, they currently have 820 trolley buses. All of the articulators are all pretty new. They're all modern looking. These may or may not still be running. Next. These are all gone. These are the articulated ones. Next. And just wandering around Beijing. Next. We went to all the places where tourists didn't go. So we didn't get strange looks because we were taking pictures of transit stuff. We got strange looks because we were Americans. And you know, people were eating on the side, and they would just literally just freeze as we walked by, just looking at us. Like, what are you doing here? Because we went to places that no tourists go to. Anyway, you can see the how much service there is. This is one of the main areas where the trolley buses habitate. Next. And this is, you can see the wires, the trolley poles are down here. This is one of the parade routes that goes across the top of the picture there. Next. Okay, this was this is the subway in Beijing in 2002. 2 lines, one loop line, the blue line, and one east-west line. The red line is about 45 minutes long. The loop line takes about 25 minutes to go around. Now, since 2002, they now have 18 lines with 319 stations and 327 miles of track.
Bigger
So-
than New York.
In 13 years, they built 16 additional lines and replaced most of the equipment you're about to see here. Line 1 opened up in 1969, and the loop was completed in 1984. It's standard gauge, 750 volt DC. Today, lines 6 and 14 have overhead wires. Line 6 and 7 have 8 cars. Everything else is 6-car trains, and the Airport Express has 4-car trains. That's today. Next. But back in 2002, this was all there was. This was their original 1969 equipment. This is all gone. All the original equipment's gone. Anyway, this is at Tiananmen West. This is downstairs from Tiananmen Square. This is March 27, 2002. Nobody said boo to me about taking pictures. They just looked at me and smiled. Sometimes they didn't smile. Next. This is one of the newer cars at the time. Looks late 70s, early 80s. This is at the Guamao station. Next. This is at the Zaidan station. The lighting was good, so this was all done handheld at ASA 200. Next. Interior of a Line 1 car. This is about 10 o'clock at night at the end of one of the lines. I went upstairs to get something from a store or something. It was like being on Mars. It was, once you get out of downtown Beijing into the outer areas, it's, at least back then, it was just a culture shock. Next. These were the newest cars of the time. This is at Tiananmen East. Next. Interior of one of the newer cars. Or middle cars, not the newest. Next. And there was only a short distance where there was anything outside back then. This is west of the Sihui station. This is on the eastern end of the red line, number 1 line. Next. And this is the loop line, which has the blue cars. This is at the Chegang Zhuang station. Next. At the Gulao station. Next. An interior of one of the loop lines. This is on a Saturday morning around 8 in the morning, because later in the day it would just be impossible to get a picture. Next. Okay, now the main line. This is the stuff I was worried about getting in trouble for doing. This was before any of the high-speed lines were anywhere near completion of construction. Now they have vast networks of basically intercity express trains, high-speed trains, but this is all you had back then. It's a train from Beijing to Yanqingnan. Next. All right, this was the newest equipment of the time. This is double-decker equipment. This is south of the Temple of Heaven Park. And you can just walk along the right-of-way, which we did. Nobody bothered us. Mary was with me here, so this is next. No issue. And that's a DF4D type locomotive. The first of these were built in 1996. These are known as the Tiger locomotives. Next. And this is the DF11 class. These were built from 1992 to 2005. This is east of the Beijing West Station. This train is going from Beijing to Nanchang. Next. Another DF11, double header this time. This train is going from Shenyang to Guangzhou. Guangzhou is basically Canton. That's the just north of Hong Kong, about 3 hours north of Hong Kong. These were built by the Qixiyuan Locomotive and Rolling Stock Works, which was founded in 1936. Next. This is at the Beijing North Station. No tourists go anywhere near the station, even if they can find it. But this is on a Saturday morning in the middle of nowhere. That's a DF4B. First one of these were built in 1985. There were 220 of these built. And it's number 1656, but the translation of the Chinese characters, that's DF4. Just have to take my word on that. All right, now that we're into strange locomotives, let's go back to Germany. Okay. This is in Mannheim. This locomotive is working for a company called Cobra. It's the Corridor Operations Belgium Rail. These locomotives are leased from Angel Trains. They have 30 of them. The company was formed in 2009. These run on freight routes linking Belgium, the Netherlands, and Germany. Next. All right, now Mannheim has one of the strangest or unique systems in the world because of the cars they run. I've never seen anything like these cars. But in any case, give me 1 second here. All right, the car on the left, it's number 4160. And to throw a whole wrench into all this stuff, a lot of these cars were renumbered to what they are now. They had original numbers. The car on the left was built in 2013. It's an RNV6. And the RNV6s were built by Adtran. And the one, that's the back of one on the right, so we'll look at those later. Anyway, that's the Hauptbahnhof. That's the main train station in Mannheim. There's hardly anything to do touristy-wise in Mannheim. So if you're, the only reason to really go there is to photograph the trolley system. It's a very industrial type town. But anyway, next. Another one of the 4100s. Another one of the Adtrans, now Bombardier. Bombardier took over Adtrans. Next. Another 4100, that's X. It used to be numbered 128. Oh, the big thing for Mannheim, their claim to fame, the bicycle was invented there in 1817. There was a famine that wiped out a whole slew of horses, so they needed to get around, so somebody invented the bicycle. So every time you see a city bike, think of Mannheim. Next. Ridiculous fact number 694. Okay. All right, these are the 5600s. This particular one was built in 1995. And these are the RNB 8s. I'm sorry, 6MGTs, 5700 for the RNB 8s. Next. $56.10. This is entering the station called Alte Feuerbach. Feuerbach.
Feuerbach.
It's a 1994 built car. It used to be numbered 601, now 5601. This is crossing the Neckar River, Neckar. Next. They also have these 1000 series cars. These were built in 1995. They're ET8Ns. Now, second. These were built by Duvag in 94 and 95. Next. Uh, 2200s. These are R&B 6s. These used to be in the 200 series. These were built in 2003 by Bombardier. Oh, the Route 5 in Mannheim, you can take all the way to Heidelberg. Next. Next. You basically got the two types of cars, but welcome to Dusseldorf. Big changes are in store for Dusseldorf. I don't know if it's open yet, but the new U-Bahn lines are opening, which are using cars that ran in the street, but not these. We'll get to that in a second. This is at the Hauptbahnhof. That's car 2128. There were 48 of these built from 1996 to 1999 by Siemens. Yep. These are NF6s. Next. These are the 36 of these, 2001 to 2036. These are the NF10s built from 2000 to 2002. These are basically Combino cars built by Siemens. Now take note, there are no doors on the left side of these cars, okay? Because we're going to see cars with doors on the left-hand side shortly. There's an explanation for that. Next. This is an interior of one of the Combinos. This is car number 2035. As you can see, everything's spotless. Next. The 2100s at Jacobi Strasse.
Subway.
Yeah.
And McDonald's.
Next. These are the 2200 series cars. These are also Combinos. There are 15 of these. These are NF8s delivered in 2003, 2004. Next. Now, these are the Silver Arrows. Now, you notice there are doors on the left-hand side. Oh, you can't see it here. Next. See, there's doors on the left-hand side here. Now, these cars were delivered early. These are going to be the new U-Bahn cars running in a new subway line that's right under here. You see where all these people are? This is insane. On Saturdays and Friday nights, it's an obstacle course for these cars to come through. So the new U-Bahn lines are going to be right under here. It's going to, I forget the exact distance, for another 2 miles. So these cars will be running on U lines. I believe it's going to be the U71, 72, and 73. Next. This will all be in the subway. So what I wanted to do is come here and get the 3000 series cars running on the street where they will never run again through here. Next. And this is down by Graf Adolf Platz. We just happened to be there the same day that Angela Merkel was here, and to the left out of the picture, her limousine had just pulled up around 2 minutes before. Next. And you can still charter one of these. That's a 1969 GT8 built by Dubak. And if that's not old enough for you, next. Right behind it was the Party Bond car.
Wow. That's classic.
Yeah, these are the older Duvacs. So if you go to www.partybond.de, you can lease this and run it around the city. Next. All right. These are the existing U-Bahn lines. These cars only run on the U75. These are the 3200 series cars. There are 36 of these. They spent 10.5 million euros to rehab these. These will be around to at least 2017, maybe further, depending on the car needs there. These are GT8 SUs built in 1973 and 1974, and they only run on the U75. This is on the bridge over the Rhine River in Düsseldorf. Next. And these are your typical Stadtbahn cars. These are your B80Ds. They have 4 series of these, 4001 to 4012 built in 1981. They had steel bodies, and they had 4 4100s, and the rest were 4200s. They had aluminum bodies, and they were built from 85 to 93. How long these cars are going to be around, I don't know, because some of them, usually everything on the Stadtbahn cars are maintained heavily. These are starting to show signs of not being maintained. So I don't know how long these are going to be around. Next. And that's one of the different paint schemes. It's most of them are in the second paint scheme there, the traditional paint scheme. Next. Some of them are wrapped, not many. Most of them are in the standard stop-on paint scheme. Next. And this is the U79 route. And this actually goes from the southern part of Dusseldorf, passes through the central part of Dusseldorf, and all the way up to Duisburg. These are the Dusseldorf cars. They also have cars in the Duisburg paint scheme in the 4700s. They 15, 16. They only have 4 cars in the Duisburg paint scheme that come down this way. All the other cars are in the Dusseldorf paint scheme. Anyway, that's a B80D. The Dusseldorf 4700s are B80Cs. Next. This is an interior of a B80D. Your typical, it's not a vending machine, that's a ticket validation machine. Next. And the good thing about Dusseldorf is that you'll get lines that share trackage with both the Stadtbahn and the Straßenbahn. That's a Straßenbahn car, but Stadtbahn cars also use the same track. But once it goes into the subway, only the Stadtbahn cars operate because you need the high-level platforms. Next. Oh, here's one of the Duisburg cars in the Duisburg paint scheme. And these are the B80Cs. I take that back about the paint schemes before scratch that because this is the low number car in the Duisburg paint scheme. Next. Those cars from 1984. All right. Now, in the handouts I gave you, there's a map on the 3rd page. It's the Rhine-Ruhr system. It's basically a giant conglomeration of Stadtbahn and Straßenbahn systems that stretches through the entire Rhine-Ruhr area, and it's all integrated. You can go from Krefeld, which is to the northwest of Dusseldorf, and you can basically ride Stadtbahn or trolley cars all the way into Gelsenkirchen and Bochum, which is probably about a 4-hour ride, and eventually into Dortmund, if you can't do so yet. Anyway, this is in Krefeld. This is a train that originated in Dusseldorf and went all the way to the northwest and is now on gauntlet track in Krefeld. You can see the dual gauge track there. Now the Straßenbahn track is in the middle, and on the outside you have the Stadtbahn track because they're different gauges. I don't know how well you can see that. Anyway, next. And this is in Krefeld itself, and it shows a regular streetcar with the Stadtbahn car from Dusseldorf. Now the Krefeld system is meter gauge, the Stadtbahn is standard gauge. In Krefeld you have 4 Straßenbahn lines, 4 streetcar lines, 750 volt DC, 22.8 mile routes. They have 2 types of cars. The car on the left is a Bombardier Flexity Outlook car from 2009, and they have some Duwag M8Cs from 1982, which were started to be replaced soon after we left. This is in March of 2014. I believe they already have some of the new cars to replace the old Duwags already in service. Next. And this is one of the cars not long for the world. I believe these are might be running somewhere else. I'm not sure. In any case, the big thing about Krefeld is that in 1945, after the war was over, there was a U.S. Army unit in the area, and they had to administer the area. Problem is, in the Army unit, there was only one person that spoke German, and he was from Bavaria, moved to the States to escape the Nazi regime, was drafted in 1943, ended up in Krefeld in 1945, and he became the administrator for Krefeld because he was the only one in the unit that spoke German, and his name was Henry Kissinger. I'm not joking. He was a private at the time, and after he successfully handled Krefeld, he was promoted to sergeant and eventually became Secretary of State. That is a true story. Next. There's one of the Dubogs from 1982. Next. And a wrap paint scheme. Now, all the routes there begin with a 0. So this is the 044 route, there's a 041 route, and so on. There's only 4 lines. Next. The 2 types of cars. This is just outside the Hauptbahnhof. Next. With a Mercedes bus. They're like Boston, they put 0 before everything, but instead of the car numbers, they put it before the route numbers. Next. Another one of the Bombardier cars. It's a short-term car. You can see the red line through the route number. Here you can see the dual gauge a little better. The track on the right is the dual gauge track. The gauntlet track, and the track on the left is just the trolley track. Next. Next. And looking the other way at the Hauptbahnhof. There was a taxi driver here that didn't like the fact that I was taking pictures. I just ignored him. He was saying something in German and was incomprehensible. Basically, don't take this picture, but I wasn't taking this picture, so I just ignored him. Next. Eventually walked away. Krefeld is not exactly a large city, so their Hauptbahnhof only has about 6 tracks, and that's a 425 class. It's a DMU on the RE11 route, the regional 11 route. Next. And coming into the station from the north, you have the Nordwestbahn, which Nordwest is northwest, northwestern Germany. It's a Veolia line. Veolia operates 21 lines for the Nordwestbahn. It started in 2000. This is a 648 class, built by Alstom. It's a diesel. It's an Alstom Coradia Lint 41. And now for something completely different. All right, we left Beijing in alphabetical order. Next is Belize. We were on a cruise through the Caribbean, through the Panama Canal back in 2005. On the way back, we docked in Belize City and went to a place called Alton Ha. It's a Mayan city, about 30 miles to the north of Belize City. Next. And you have your interest in the pyramids here. Last occupied in the 1400s. Mayan culture was actually subdued in Belize by around 1697. That was the end of the Mayan civilization. Next. And that's a bus in Belize. It's a ex-Prevost from somewhere, I don't know where. I couldn't open the door to get the serial number. And we go from Belize, B-E-L, to B-E-R for Berlin. Next. It just happens to be in a German show, but these shots were taken on September the 23rd, 2000. You were dropping in on a relative of ours that lived out by the Olympic Stadium, since passed away. Checkpoint Charlie, which existed from 1961 to 1990. Next. This is what was left of the Berlin Wall, the Mühlenstrasse. You can walk along it. It's about a half a mile section at the time. Next. And the Berlin U-Bahn system is something to see. They have an elevated line. This is on the U1. Those are A3 cars. Entering Cestus Tor. Next. Same station, different view. All those buildings were built post, it says 1895 on our top, or 1899, but that building was most likely demolished in 1945, 1944. Next. Looking the other way at the same station. Nick, you still here?
Yep.
Are these cars still around?
Yes.
Okay.
Whole bunch of series that all look the same. Some lightweight, some
Okay.
standard weight. But some are still around.
Now, these are the small profile cars. They run on the U1 to U4 lines. The large profile cars run on the U5 to U9 lines. Next. This is at the Heidelberger Platz station on the U1, car 756. I'm going to use a word that Gary Grohl likes. It's a palatial station. Next.
I'm telling you.
Need a hand handle?
And it was clean too?
Man,
Yeah, it's no film. Don't even mention it's no film.
Same station. This is all handheld. This is push to 800 film. Push to 800. Next.
It's immaculate.
And these are the large profile cars. This is on the U9. It's at the Bundesplatz. The
F-76.
they run the F and H stock. This is built from 1961 to 76. Next. And you can't get those anymore. It's the 477 class on the S-Bahn. These ran from 1938 to, what, 2003, I believe. Next. And what they looked at from how they looked at the front, this is Alexanderplatz. Next. And the old East German cars, these are Tatra KT4s built from 1982 to 86. They had 99 of these. This is at Am Friedrichshain. Next, it's on the Route 4. And on the Route 2 at Greifswalder and Petersburger. This is in the eastern section as far as I know.
Yep.
Remember it? All right, we go from BERL to BERM alphabetically. Next. Welcome to Bermuda. Maybe you would appreciate this on a freezing day like this. This is December 10th, 06. Me and Neri and her sister went down here for 4 days. Got a good deal on JetBlue. You cannot rent the car in Bermuda. Only the locals can drive that. You got to get around with the buses. Next. And thankfully, there's a lot of buses.
Pink.
That's on Route 8. That's number 2K108. Basically means it was purchased in 2001. There were 20 of these built. They have that's MAN chassis on a Berkhoff body, and they have 100. At the time, they had 109 buses running. They basically all look like this. Okay, we go from BERM to BERN alphabetically. Next. Welcome to Bern. This is from the Kirchenfeldbruck, or Kirchenfeld Bridge. This is October 25th, 2008. This is another crazy trip that we did, hitting a lot of places in a short amount of time. Next. And this is east of Barenplatz. This is one of the things Bern is known for. It's on Route 9. At the time, they had two different types of cars. These are the Veve cars. Veve cars from 1989 to 90, 731 to 742, and they had some Combinos, 751 to 765, from 2002 to 2004. Next, at Barenplatz again, the famous spot. Next, one of the Combinos coming across the Kirchenfeldbrücke. Next. Another Combino car in the central area. Next. And this was the terminus of the Route G at the time. It's now the 6th route. This is at the Zeitblog. It ran from here to Vorb. These are the Tram 2000s. They were built in 1987 to 88. They were owned by the RBS, or the Regional Verkehr Bern Solothurn. These cars now go through, right? Into downtown? Okay. At the time, they just come over the Kirchenfeldbrücke and they just terminated here and they went back. but now they continue on through with the rest of the city cars.
In earlier days, they ended at the other end of the bridge because the bridge would not take their weight.
Ah. Thank you, Jack May. Jack May is the inspiration for traveling to a lot of these places. After seeing his photography, me and Mary want to go there. So where are you going next?
Thank you. Morocco,
Okay.
next one.
I guess we know where we're going in the next area. Okay, next. That's looking at a car G going over the bridge into Bern proper. That's a casino there, believe it or not. Next. And this is the Gertenbahn. It's in the southern suburbs. It was built in 1899, rebuilt in 1999 to what you see there, this meter gauge. 34% incline, rises 347 feet. It was built by Schinkerwagen, ABB. Next. And Bern has a nice, interesting commuter system. It's a BLS with the Nina cars. These are EMUs built by Bombardier. BLS again is Bern-Lotsburg Simplon Railway. Next. And they also have trolley buses. That's trolley bus number 1 on the Route 12. They have, they're on 3 lines currently, 11, 12, and 20. The trolley buses numbered 1 through 20, built from 1997 to 2000. They're built by Hess Swiss Trolley, and they're 18.7 meters long. Trolley buses have been in Bern since 1940. Next. And this is the Cisalpino. Basically runs from Switzerland over the Alps into Italy. Started in 1993. These train sets were complete disasters. One caught on fire in the spring of '90, and the Swiss National Railways, Swiss Federal Railways, basically said, "Get them off our system." And they're no longer in service in Switzerland, as far as I know. Although they did split up the train sets. Italy got some, and Switzerland got some, but I don't know if they run anywhere. One of the people in charge of the Swiss Federal Railway basically said, I quote, put an end to this horror, getting rid of these train sets. But anyway, all right, we go from BERN. Now we'll go to the BOs next. All right, this is in Huahine, in French Polynesia. We're on a connecting flight here through their massive airport, on our way to Bora Bora from Moorea. This is June 14, 2000. This is part of our honeymoon. Next. And welcome to Bora Bora. This is just outside of our hotel. This is June 13, 2000. And think of this when you hit the cold weather out there. Next. That's the buses. That was the only bus we could find in Bora Bora. We actually rented the car. Bora Bora is 143 miles north of Tahiti. Next. All right, go from BOR to BOS to Boston. This is September 3rd, 2005, from a Delta commuter flight. We were flying up to Bangor via Boston. That's basically looking north. If you were to look at this today, it would all be white because they're covered in 6 feet of snow, literally. 9 feet now, right? Next. And while we're up in the air, while me and a couple of people were Mike Duran, Glenn Smith, Greg Campolo, we decided to go to the top of one of the tallest apartment buildings in South Boston, which is basically where the Boston police has their main antenna. And we just went up there like we owned the place, hung out, and took some pictures of the Washington Street L. This is February 15th, 87. Next. This is entering Forest Hills.
Yep. These are 2-car trains a lot.
Next. This is entering Forest Hills. This is all gone now. The line is now to the left and cut.
The green.
You can see the trolley cars on the right for the Arborway garage. Next. This is a train leaving the old Forest Hill station.
There's a new Forest Hill station.
That station opened in 1909. The Orange Line, 11 miles long, 120 cars. These cars were built in Thunder Bay by Hooker Sidley, 65 feet long, 9 feet 3 inches wide. Like I said, they're based on the PA3s for PAT. And it's called the Orange Line because the southern part of Washington Street in downtown Boston used to be Orange Street. Next. And let's pass through downtown. This is the Mass Pike on August 29th, 1992. Even these signs are gone. They're all changed because of the big dig. So this is actually a historical shot, believe it or not. Next. And the northern part of the line, this is entering Malden. This is May 5th, 07, that's southbound. There used to be an L that used to go to the north. It used to be called the Charlestown L, and that closed in 1975 and was replaced by this. Next. Take a look at the red line, crossing over the Charles River.
They use 6-car trains.
Yeah, this is when they only ran 4-car trains. This is November 3rd, 1990. These are the number 1 fleet cars. They're the 1500s and the 1600s. Next. And entering the Charles MGH station, Massachusetts General Hospital. This is looking towards the portal. Next. And remember these, the old 1400s, the old 1963 Pullmans. These were replaced by the 1800s. This section of the red line opened in 1912 from Harbor to Park Street. This is the Longfellow Bridge. Next. And you can't get this anymore. You know, Blue Line cars at the Aquarium Station. This is right towards the end. This is August 16th, 2008. This used to be a trolley line. Somebody wake that person up. This used to be a trolley line. The East Boston Tunnel. Just like the 7 line today to Grand Central was a trolley line, and it was Steinway tubes were used by trolleys. The same thing here. This line here used to be used by trolleys until 1924. Next. Quick look at the, well, not so quick look at the green line. This is at the Boylston Station, November 4th, 1990. This section opened on September 1st, 1897. The original section that you can still ride is between Boylston and Government Center, although the Government Center station looks nothing like it did in 1897. It's been heavily altered.
We got it closed right now, they're rebuilding it.
Next. This is the destruction of, if you don't like the Boston Bruins, you love this shot. This is the Boston Garden being demolished. You can still see the seats. This is on May 2nd, 1998. The Fleet Center is on the right and separated by a couple of inches. Next.
It says at the L, it was all section L.
This is at Park Street when the Type 7s were pretty new. This is August 31st, 1986. This is the original paint scheme. Next.
Yes, love that.
And remember the Boeing cars?
I miss them.
These were in service from 1976 to 2007, built by Boeing Vertol, 71 feet long. Next. And these cars, the Breda cars, it's hard to describe if they had more trouble with these cars or the Boeing cars.
Yeah, I think
Because these cars are going to be replaced themselves in not too long. They're going to be replaced by the Type 9s. And Breda's not going to build the Type 9s. This is at the intersection of South Huntington and Huntington Avenue, May 26, 2007. Next. At Smith Street and Huntington Avenue.
They kept derailing.
Next.
Small wheels and little cars.
Huntington and Smith Street. October 4th, 1992.
These are good.
Next. Huntington and Parker. As you can see, I'm into architecture, so if I see a odd-looking building or an interesting-looking building, I always try and incorporate it in the picture. This is March 17th, 1996. Next. This is at Dean Road on the Beacon Street line. This is May 26th, 07. That train is inbound or downtown bound. Next. August 31st, 86. This is at Commonwealth near Melvin Avenue. The B for Boston College one. Although it seems backwards, the B should be the Beacon Street line and the C should be the Commonwealth Avenue line, but they did what they did. Next. This is Commonwealth Avenue near Washington Street. February 15th, 87. Next. It's at the portal for the Beacon Street line. This is at St. Mary Street.
That sign is gone.
Yeah. Next. And a very, very brief look at the commuter line leaving South Station. That's F40. September 21st, 96. Okay, if we go from BO to BR. Next. Go to Brazil. This is Manaus. It's the capital of the Amazonas state. It was founded in 1693. Became a state in 1848. Currently has 2 million people. It's 900 miles inland down the Amazon River. What we did, we were on a charter flight for Princess Cruises out of Miami, flew into Manaus, which is literally in the middle of nowhere. You cannot drive here from anywhere else in Brazil. You can only drive here south from Venezuela. It's the only way in. You can either by boat, plane, or car from Venezuela. But anyway, this is January 28th, 07. Next. And we had some time to shoot some buses there. Next. This is that's not a tourist boat, that's actual transportation along the Rio Negro here. It has a junction with the Amazon River to the east of here. Next. And here's the junction. Now, the dark water is the water coming in from the Rio Negro, or Black River. It's a very slow-moving river, so it doesn't pick up any sediment. Now, the beige water, that's the Amazon River. Now, it's beige because it's a fast-flowing river and picks up sediment from the bottom. And this is the junction. And after this, it's all Amazon. And that's what we cruised. Next. And this is one of the stops along the way at the Boca de Valeria. Those are the locals coming in to get stuff being thrown off the boat. This is January 30th, 07. Now, the Regal Princess you see there is not the Regal Princess today. There was a new Regal Princess christened recently, which is much larger than this boat. This boat was sold to P&O Cruises, and it's now their Pacific Dawn. This boat was built in 1991. Princess gave it up in 2007, shortly after this cruise. Next. Welcome to Dortmund. We're back in Germany now. No more alphabet stuff for a while. Now, Dortmund is a city of U-Bahns. There's no trolley tracks in the central area. It's all subway downtown, and there's portals that are around the city, and after the trains come out of the portal, then it's above ground on private right-of-way. Well, this is the U49. This is on the southern part of Dortmund. They have two basic types of cars that run on everything except the U43 and U44. They have these stop-on cars, number 301 to 364, built from 1986 to 1999, and they have 11 cars that they got from Bonn and 1974 built cars, ex-Bonn 7400s. So anything you see in the 400s was from Bonn. Well, anyway, this is entering Romberg Park on March 31st, 2014. Next. This is at the typical station on the U49, R361, and southbound. Next. This is the U45 line. The U45 line heads south out of central Dortmund, does a U shape, and when it comes back into Dortmund, it's the U46. They just change the number on the car when they get to a certain stop, and it does the other, it becomes a U45 coming the other way from U46. This is at the Remy Dam station. Next. And of course, these are all U-Bahn cars. Typical U-Bahn station, this is on the U42. It's at the Brunnenstrasse station. Next. This is the outer part of the U42. This is the Buchhofstrasse station. Next. Now, the U43 and the U44 were formerly trolley routes. It used to be the 403 and the 404 routes. They were converted in one swoop. The Duval cars were taken off, and you have these new cars now. Give me 1 second. All right, next. And the U43 and U44 exclusively run these new cars. It's an east-west line. Next.
Hey,
All right, now we'll go to Duisburg. Duisburg has two lines, the 901, the 903. Downtown is all underground, it's all U-Bahn. The outer parts you're above ground. And the U79 also comes into Duisburg, but they run different cars. The 1000 series cars you see here, built from 1986 to 1993, they're GTNC-DU, DU for Duisburg. And this is at the Emilstrasse station. Next. Now in the handouts I gave you, you have full maps of both these lines. It's a very unique system map that they have. It's actually a timetable and now folds a map showing a really nice graphic of the system, of the lines. Next. And as you can see, it's nice residential areas it goes through, well kept, street running, meter gauge. Next. This is the 901 line. Now the 901 line connects to Mulheim within the Rhine-Ruhr system. Remember I was telling you how you can ride the stop-on or trolley cars from city to city in the Rhine-Ruhr system? Well, this is the line that takes you to Mulheim. Next. And here it is at the Mulheim Hauptbahnhof. Next. Now we'll take a look at Mulheim. Now the 112 route is another interesting route. This is the line that goes up to Oberhausen. Now, it runs two groups of cars, as Mulheim cars and Oberhausen cars. The Oberhausen cars are numbered 205 to 210, and everything else are the Mulheim cars. This is at Stadtmitte, or middle of the city, basically. Next. And that's the standard paint scheme. As you can see, they've done a good job with the architecture of Mulheim. Next. And they have some standard Duwa cars. The car 275 is an MX M6C-NF. They were built from 1977 to 84. The car on the left, it's an MG T6D built in 1995. Next. Another one of the older Duba. This is just north of the central part of town. Next. And these are this is one of the Oberhausen cars. As you can see, it's painted green, but it has the yellow stripe. These are the cars that were owned by the Oberhausen municipality, but run all the way to Mulheim. It's like a joint operation, basically. Next. And this is one of the Mulheim cars in Oberhausen. Next. This is on the 102 line at the Thuringer station. Next. And the 104, if you notice, it says EVAG, which E is for Essen. The 104 line runs from Essen to Mulheim. So if you want to get to Essen by streetcar, you can do that. So if you started in Krefeld, you can end up in Mulheim, and then take this one to Essen. It'll take you about 4 or 5 hours, but it's doable. But this is in downtown Mulheim. Next. All right, now we're in Essen. Essen has a pretty large system. It's really interesting. If you're gonna, Essen should be one of the systems. If you go to Germany, Essen should be one of the systems that you definitely visit. It's very interesting. In any case, these are their newest cars. These were built from 1999 to 2001. They're M8 DNFs, and they have 34 of these. Next. And these are their older Duvags. This is next. Just trying to find my place here. Just one second. Oh, here we go. Okay, this is on the Route 101. Now the 1100s, they have 80 of these. These are their oldest cars. These are oldest street running cars, Straßenbahn cars. These are built from 1979 to 82. These are M8Cs. Next. Next. Now, the Essen subway is very interesting. Take note of the gauntlet tracks. This is where Straßenbahn cars, streetcars, and U-Bahn cars run together. The U-Bahn cars are on the standard gauge, and the streetcars are on the meter gauge. And this is at the Martinstrasse station. And next. The other interesting thing about Essen is that they run old Docklands railway cars.
Oh.
These are the oldest ones, the, what is it, 01 to number 20 in Docklands, so you won't see those running in the Docklands Railway anymore.
They used to be automated.
Yeah, not anymore. Now they're manual. This particular car, 52, well, they have more than, at the time of my roster, they only had 20, but they apparently have more now. Next. But these only run on the U-Bahn lines. That's an interior one. Next. And this 106 line is interesting. It runs in a U-shape in the southern part of the town, and it connects all the trolley lines and the U-Bahn cars. So if you walk this one or ride this one, you just get on and off, and you can photograph a whole bunch of different lines. You can use this as a connecting line. Next. And these are the old stop-on cars that they. This is on the U17. This is at Holsterhauser Platz. Next. And as you can see, they run on the street, but when they get closer to downtown, of course, they run in the subway. Next. Now these, the previous cars were built in 1976 to 85 and then the 80Cs. But here we see the old Docklands cars running on the U-Bahn, and they're going to be running down the street. Next. Who would have thought? And then they have the U18 line, which runs in the median of a highway. I wonder where they got that idea from. Next. And they also have Docklands cars running there. The Docklands cars basically run everywhere on the U-Bahn, together with the stop-on cars, the B80 cars. Next. And back to the Straßenbahn, the streetcar running. This is on the 109 route. Next. 106 again. At this point, the 106 and the 109 are running together. The western end of the U, that's Oszustowicz. Next. And this is the 103 route near Kronenberg. This area here in Kronenberg is the biggest junction for the streetcars in all of Essen. You just hang out in this street corner here and get cars left and right. Next. And car 1111, not far from Kronenberg, just on Route 103, heading towards downtown. Next. And at the Hauptbahnhof, we have another one of the old East German locomotives. Next. And the 422 class, again running on the S-Bahns and the regional bonds. Next. And one of the 101 class locomotives, it's racked for Hertha BSC. That's Hertha Berliner Sports Club. That's the one of the football clubs in the Berlin area. They actually play in the old Olympic Stadium, the 1936 Olympic Stadium. So they play on the same field where Jesse Owens did his thing. Next. And these are one of the ICE 3s. These are the class 403s. You take note, on the original ICE trains, there were no windows on the front part of the train because it was all locomotive. The ICE 3s are actually EMUs. The motors are actually on the trucks. It's not on the body. The great thing about these cars is that there are seats where you can look out the front window over the shoulder of the operator and watch what's going on. It's really interesting because these trains really move, and it's one of the better experiences of rail travel in Germany. If you ever get to ride one of these, make sure you're in the front. Next. Another Nordwestbahn train, 643 class. These are Bombardier Talents, T-A-L-E-N-T, which stands for Talbot Leichter Nahverkers Triebwagen, or basically Talbot Light Suburban Motor Coach. These were built, there's 830 of these in service, not just for Nordwestbahn, but also Deutschbahn. These were built from 1996, and if they look familiar, the Ottawa O train has 3 of these. They basically have the 643 class running in Ottawa, although they have some Alstom cars now too. Next. Another system, the Abellio. They have 134 vehicles, 460 trains per day. They run in northwest Germany. They're based in Essen. That's a Stadler Flirt EMU. So Stadler does build electric cars. Now Flirt stands for Fast, Light, Innovative Regional Train. Now Abellio almost didn't exist, but they basically sued Deutschbahn for the right to operate services in Germany, and they won. And that's why they're operating. Next. All right, this is Gelsenkirchen. This is at the Hauptbahnhof. That's another freight train coming through north. That's an E189-841 ES64F4. Now the ES64F stands for Euro Sprinter 6400 kilowatt freight. It's 8600 horsepower. This is what the ACS-64 for Amtrak was based on. ACS-64 stands for Amtrak City Sprinter 6400 kilowatt. So this is what started it all for. So Amtrak got proven technology. Deutschbahn runs these in freight service only, but they're passenger capable. They have HEP capability, and so they are proven locomotives that Amtrak did. they didn't get something completely new like Long Island did with their diesel locomotives. Next. All right, this is, Gelsenkirchen is interesting. The system is called Bogestra. It's basically a combined system with Bochum and Gelsenkirchen. So it's Bochum, Gelsenkirchen transit basically, that's Bogestra. And the system connects both cities. This is in Gelsenkirchen, north of the Hauptbahnhof. That's the Route 301. That's car 525. They have 30 of these. These are Stadler Variobahns, built from 2008 to 2011. The 301 only runs these cars. Next. Okay. All right, it's 10 o'clock, so we'll pick this up next year, knock on wood, and we'll go to our last group of just some interesting photos. Next. Let me just write down where we ended.
I'll put it in upside down.
Yeah. So next year we'll start there. All right. Now, the date is June 23rd, 2012. We've just taken off in a plane from LaGuardia Airport, heading to the west, and we're about over 130th Street in Harlem. Looking on the left is Park Avenue, on the right is Hudson River, and you're looking south towards Central Park and the under construction World Trade Center down there. Now, if you were on that U.S. Airways flight that hit the birds in January of, 2011, this is the last thing you would have seen before the plane veered off to the Hudson River. Next. And this is looking to the northwest at Washington Street and Front Street in Brooklyn. Looking, of course, through the Manhattan Bridge to the Empire State Building. Next. This is an odd view looking from a direction you don't normally see. Standing on Christie Street and Canal Street, looking to the southwest. That's the municipal building on the left from 1908. That's 40 Center Street in the middle from 1936. That's the Thurgood Marshall U.S. Courthouse. And then, of course, you have the Woolworth Building. And when it opened in 1913, it was the tallest building in the world. Next. There is a top there. This is from the Brooklyn, you're standing on the Brooklyn Bridge. This is May 26, 2012. The building on the left is 8 Spruce Street, designed by Frank Gehry. And there are no girders in that building. That building is built with all rebar. A lot of buildings in Manhattan and Brooklyn now, the taller buildings, are being built with rebar and reinforced concrete, which I'd like to see what this building is going to be like in 50 years after a couple of hurricanes. So just be aware of that. Next. This is from the Brooklyn Bridge again. This is May 28, 2012. World Trade Center under construction. The Woolworth Building and the Frank Gehry Building. Next. And we're at Cadman Plaza and Furman Street, looking towards the World Trade Center. May 26, 2012. Next. From Sand Street. Next. And from the Belt Parkway walkway, looking toward Manhattan, of course. Next. And after a good rainstorm, the sky in Manhattan is very blue. This is October 11, 2012. Standing at Lexington and 39th, looking north and up. Next. September 22nd, 2013, in Central Park, looking west. Next. And this is from that ferry that went to the Rockaways that no longer runs. Looking at the Marine Parkway Bridge, Gil Hodges Bridge, and the Verrazano in the background. Bridge was built in 1937. It's officially New York State Route 901B. It was renamed in 1978 for Gil Hodges. He was on the 1955 Brooklyn Dodgers and managed the Mets in 1969. Next. Same bridge again from that ferry. It was the only time I ever rode under the bridge in a vessel, and after the ferry was gone, that was it, but maybe the ferries will come back. Next. And looking towards the Rockaways from Jamaica Bay right before it was about to rain. And that's it.